Thank you for joining Council of Geeks. I'm joined by Paul Scavito and Ryan Daly, and this time we're going to talk about the sort of 1, 2, 3 punch of teaser trailers that we had for some of the big movies that are coming out next year. So if we're going with the order that the trailers came out, I guess we start with Jurassic World, which I sort of did my own solo rant on, so I won't get into my nitpicks about it, but sort of the recurring theme for me with actually all three of these. A franchise that is tainted, I'm never going to be turned around by the marketing. I feel like other people got way more excited than I did, and I'm almost kind of jealous because I'm like, I'm a jaded bastard because I can't allow myself to get that excited because I've had the crash.
I think the teaser for Jurassic World is bad. And I think it is because I think there's a lot of dumb. But I have to temper that with, I love dinosaurs.
And I love kids in parks.
No, you don't. And I want to see this stuff. But there's some really stupid things. I'm actually going to stop for a second and give it to Ryan. So
you don't think any amount of marketing can change your feeling on this?
I don't think the marketing can get me pumped.
Okay, so I think the marketing is the only thing that can get me into this movie. Because like you, I thought this trailer did nothing for me. In fact, just discouraged me from seeing this. Based on that trailer, I don't think this movie is for me. I don't think it's for our generation that saw and grew up with the original Jurassic Park movies. I think it's for a younger generation that hasn't seen those movies and doesn't want to watch movies that are more than 10 years old.
Just the dumb that's in it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say there isn't dumb in it.
Yes.
I am going to say the only time Jurassic Park has ever been smart was the first time.
That's because there was an inherent lesson to be learned from the first movie. And the longer they keep doing this, they realize that these characters aren't learning that lesson. They haven't learned anything, so they must be dumb.
And I am kind of okay with the fact that they have just doubled down on the dumb, as long as they can make it fun dumb.
I just want to just very briefly deconstruct what the dumb is in the film. Do I want to go to a park where I see dinosaurs? Yes. Do I want to get to them as close to them as I possibly can? Yes. What would I expect the safety measures to be in place at said park? Well, I expect it to be pretty extreme. If there's an enormous Leviathan, I don't know that you necessarily would do the nose riding routine with it.
Get seats in the splash zone.
Yeah, and so the bubble is really the boys in the bubble is what breaks it for me, because I don't care what the bubble's made out of. And actually, the problem is they show me the bubble being broken later. Right? Mm-hmm. So that tells me that bubble was not made of indestructo plastic, right? It's made of breakable plastic, apparently, right? And so the boys are riding along next to whatever that giant dinosaur is, because they're no longer called Brontosaurus, I don't think.
It's a Potosaurus, I believe is what it is now.
Enormous, right? At best, right? They kind of get near him and it's okay. But even if it poops on them, right? They're going to be encased. And how long does it take another person to get out there and shovel them out of the dinosaur poop? And if it falls on them or steps on them, and they're in the indestructible ball, they're trapped under an enormous dinosaur. And how long does it take to move that?
Do we need to address the reasoning for the Murdersaurus?
On paper, I'm actually kind of okay with this. And there were rumors for a long time that what Jurassic Park 4 was going to be was actually dinosaur DNA crossed with humans. That was the talk for a long time. The idea of them splicing into new configurations was something I kind of came to terms with about 10 years ago when they were first batting around that ridiculous notion.
The only way they can save that premise for me, it created to be a weapon, that they have weaponized dinosaurs. Because that would be different. I haven't seen that.
Except that makes no sense. I mean, the premise, as I understand it...
bullets cost money.
I think it's cheaper than engineering a new life form.
I haven't crunched the numbers, but
and I don't think you have.
The theory behind it is that Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or whatever the theme park is called is open, and people have been coming and they're kind of over the novelty of it and the numbers are declining. So how do we get people back? We make a brand new dinosaur. Is stupid, but it is that kind of corporate, how do we keep this money machine rolling stupid that I could actually kind of believe happened.
But you also have to get me to
That's how we get the KFC Double Down sandwich.
I know, this is the KFC Double Down of dinosaurs.
You have to already sell me on the idea that the world's only dinosaur park is unpopular shoulder.
I want to see that. I want to see teenagers just standing there by Velociraptor.
Stupid.
Well, actually, which brings up the last thing, which we haven't talked about, which is that last shot with him on the motorcycles, and there's been a lot of rumor that he is actually somehow trained and Velociraptors to, if nothing else, not kill him.
That actually intrigues me, and I would like that idea because I would like to see these treated more as animals that can think and that can actually reason, that aren't just plot devices for violence. Animals have certain behavior, and I would like to see them act like animals and not like the villain. So if they can do something with that would at least be something I haven't seen from this film franchise.
I would love to believe that that's what it is. I don't think it is. I think what they're using them for is, remember how scary Velociraptors are?
Right.
Now they're running away.
Well, except that I think they may just be smart enough not to do that because nobody bought into the Spinosaurus in the third movie, and they did that exact thing. Remember how awesome the T-Rex was? Well, it just got its butt kicked. Isn't this more awesome? No, we like the T-Rex. Right. We don't like this thing. So I think they may have learned their lesson.
Oh, but I do have a theory about what the Super Murdersaurus is, which is the Tyrannosaurus Rex with arms.
So moving along to the one that really got everybody's motor running, which was the Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer.
I had no idea what to expect in terms of the visual shots that we would get from this teaser, but the teaser was still exactly what I expected. It was going to be provocative, and it was going to have the audience asking a lot more questions than they get answered from those images. And the other thing that I expected, because this wasn't apparent in the 3 Star Wars movies preceding this one, was the sense of movement and the sense of energy. So I was really pleased and intrigued by these things. I liked the opening shots. We get a stormtrooper who's obviously not a clone. I like that we're seeing a black man and a woman as the first human figures that we see. Things that looked familiar but different. The vehicles, we see TIE fighters, we see the Millennium Falcon, we see different versions of X-Wings. I liked that we did not see Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher.
I think that was really smart because you got to sell us on these other people.
Right, and because I don't want Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia to be the main characters.
Yes.
I don't want the new adventures of old Han Solo. But the droid, the ball droid that I think a lot of people went, don't like that, it doesn't look practical.
I didn't go, but it did take me a second to go, wait, what?
Did you see Interstellar? There is a robot in Interstellar that looks stupid. I grew to really like that robot, and it was used very, very effectively. I've seen droids look dumber that were used really well, that's the thing. So I trust that.
Anyone who wants to call BS on that droid, I would immediately say, I bet you get the biggest grin on your face when the little toaster droid gets roared at by the Wookiee and goes,
Right.
You smile so big and you love that. So don't call BS on the ball droid when we've already had toaster droid.
Right. The cinematic sort of look of these films. One of the things, and it was best highlighted, I thought, by a fan-made trailer, which was the George Lucas special edition of the trailer, and it encapsulated everything that I thought this got right. They're beautiful shots.
Sure.
Like, they're beautiful shots. It's very clear that we're on location. It's clear that the actors are interacting with sets. It's clear that we have real props that they're using, that their costumes are real.
Right.
And the scenes are not filled with crap that we have to see in or around. And what it reminded me of is that opening shot of the first film. You know, go back to that shot, you know, that how clean that shot is, that we're telling a story. We've got a little ship running away from the big one, right? And we're getting those early sort of images of what the story is going to be about, right? And I can say legitimately that I am excited about this movie based on this teaser.
Which brings us finally to Terminator Genesis. Oddly, and I didn't expect this, was actually the teaser that got the most positive reaction out of me. Versus the other two, which in Jurassic World kind of made me go, bleh, and in the Star Wars I went, okay. This actually did turn me around. I'm still not going to say I'm pumped for Terminator Genesis, but it kind of sold me on the idea, and I'm now not dismissing it out of hand. When it opens up, giving us the war in the future as we have come to know it. This isn't the Terminator Salvation version of the war.
Right.
And then to see them perfectly recreating that alleyway and that store and then they literally drove a truck through the old continuity but had her say that same line, "Come with me if you want to live." I'm like, I'm not just gonna write this off now. Right. You have my attention.
So for me, did it get me excited? No.
I joked instantly that what I saw this was it was ripping off X-Men Days of Future Past, which ripped off Terminator 2. I loved Terminator, and I really liked Terminator 2, and I was fine with those movies being it. Like,
the universe.
It never felt like, as much as like the glimpses of the apocalyptic future and the war, as much as that looked cool, I never needed a movie about that. I never needed this franchise to keep going. They're doing this slightly softer reboot, but they're reintroducing these characters and this older continuity for a younger audience that isn't familiar with it. And if this introduces a new generation of these characters, I hope they love it. Mm-hmm. But that also feels like an acknowledgement that they're leaving me behind, and I'm okay with that.
The question you have to ask is, how many times can you tell this story? And they literally have answered it by saying, we can tell it one more time. We can literally tell the exact same story that we've told before, but in a new, interesting, twisty time travel way. But we really have been here.
I'm intrigued by Emilia Clarke because I like her, but I really just know her from playing one character on Game of Thrones.
And that's all pretty much anybody knows her from. Right. She doesn't have a long resume prior to doing Daenerys.
Right, and I want to see her doing a very different character, and this certainly looks like that. So. As well. I don't know if this was just my experience or if this was yours, but did it look like the title there was a typo?
I guess that wraps it up. So that's the latest batch of teasers and trailers and stuff that they're trying to throw at us to get our money. They're filthy, filthy whores that way. In any case, thank you for joining us, and until next time, this council is adjourned. Thank you for joining Council of Geeks. I am joined by Paul Daly and
No.
Let's try that again.
That'll be the post-credit stinger.